Hi dear students, with this presentation we will start the fourth module of the subject Advanced Energy Engineering. Coming to the topic to study in this module, first one is biomass as an energy and as a fuel. So we have to discuss what is biomass and how it is used as a fuel. The second topic is thermo-chemical, biochemical and agrochemical conversion of biomass. Actually, the biomass is to be converted into or treated. Some processes are to be done in order to use it as a energy. Of course, the direct combustion is there still. The high grade energy is obtained by some chemical as well as biological processes doing over the biomass. So that is what is known as thermochemical, biochemical and agrochemical conversions of biomass. What are the different processes or how we will convert biomass into energy, that is what is discussed in that topic. Then comes pyrolysis, then comes the gasification and combustion and fermentation. These are all the different processes to convert the raw biomass into useful form of energy or high grade energy, we can call it as in a simple sense. Then comes the esterification, again a conversion process. And finally, we will be discussing about economics of biomass, power generation and future prospects. So coming to the main topics of this module, first one is biomass. We must have an idea what is biomass. Okay, biomass is a renewable organic. Organic meaning it is made of materials that comes from living organisms such as plants and animals. So biomass is actually a renewable organic matter. Okay, renewable means something we can will get in plenty or we can reproduce it. That is what is renewable. And organic means something which is coming out of the living organisms such as plants and animals. So everything that we obtain from the living organism as waste is simply known as biomass. See, a plant completely used for burning or wood is used for producing the energy or heat. That means wood is a example for biomass. Cow dung, it is coming from the living organism or animal, it is coming from the animal, so cow dung is also treated as a biomass. So whatever we are obtained from, we are getting from living organisms, so as a waste directly or indirectly is known as the biomass. Or simply, biomass is a name for plant and animal waste used as energy source of fuel. That is the simplest definition. It is actually plant and animal waste used as an energy source of fuel. Everything the waste coming from plant and animals that we are using as a energy source is simply known as biomass. Plants, so definitely you will have a confusion from where they are getting this energy. Plants, how the plants are getting the energy. So the example is, the answer is simple. The plants are getting the energy from the processes known as photosynthesis, or simply in a sense, the whatever energy is available in earth having some content of solar energy in it. So in a simple sense we can say biomass is a stored chemical energy inside the plant. Okay, that is obtained from the solar energy. Plants produce biomass through photosynthesis, in which the solar energy combines the carbon dioxide and water to form carbohydrates. That carbohydrate is the stored chemical energy that I have just told. So it will be either carbohydrates can be either glucose or sugar, even sucrose. So different forms are there, mainly containing carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. That is what is it, that is the combination of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen in different proportions. That is what is known as carbohydrates. So it can be either glucose or sucrose based on the carbon, hydrogen numbers present in it. Okay, biomass contains stored chemical energy from the sun, or we can say biomass is a stored solar energy. Simply, biomass is nothing but it is a stored solar energy. How that energy is converted is by the chemical process known as simple process known as photosynthesis. Okay, biomass can be burned directly for heat or converted to renewable liquid and gaseous fuels. So biomass can be used to produce energy either directly burning the biomass, but of course if we are directly burning means the loss of energy will be there, lot of energy losses will be there. So we can say that as a low grade energy only, so we cannot extract the complete energy available with this. So instead of, if we go for some transformation processes, either it can be chemical or biological, whatever it may be, by treating the biomass or converting it into different useful forms, we can produce the liquid fuel as well as the gaseous fuels like biogas and biodiesel, etc. So either it will be directly used or it is converted into high grade energy form. Okay, so that conversion processes we will be discussing in detail in this module. Everything I have just told, all these process, pyrolysis, first one thermochemical, biochemical and agrochemical conversion, pyrolysis, gasification, fermentation, esterification, all these are different processes to convert raw biomass into high grade energy form or useful form of biomass. Okay, now coming to the various resources of biomass, we know the forest is the biggest resource for the biomass. Then comes the agricultural residues. The waste available after the agricultural products is known as agricultural residues. Energy crops, sometimes it is the plants are treated for the energy purpose alone, that is what is known as energy crops. Then sugar cane, most of the liquid energy is produced from the sugar cane. By the chemical conversions we will be producing the energy. Oil producing plants, aquatic plants, urban waste, everything are example for biomass, or simply these are all the resources for biomass. Now coming to the biomass energy, we have talked about the biomass. Now coming to the biomass energy, it is energy obtained from organic matter derived from biological organisms, that means plants and animals, is known as biomass energy or simply bioenergy. So whatever energy that we are obtaining from biomass is simply known as bioenergy or biomass energy. So biomass means it is biological the waste of biological organisms, that is biomass. So energy obtained from organic matter derived from biological organisms is known as biomass or energy or simply bioenergy. Usually the broadest classification of the biomass energy is biomass from cultivated fields, crops and forests, and the second one is biomass from municipal waste, animal dung, agricultural waste and fisheries waste. So this is the two classification. Now biomass is converted into energy through various processes, including direct combustion is there. So by direct combustion we can convert biomass into energy. Then comes thermochemical conversion to produce solid, gaseous and liquid fuels. Along with thermochemical conversion we will have another method, that is called chemical conversion, and of course biological conversion methods are also there. All these methods we will discuss in detail in this module. Now coming to the direct combustion. Direct combustion is the most common method for converting biomass into useful energy. In every house we are doing these processes. The wood is being directly used as a fuel, that is what is known as direct combustion. We will be directly combusting the whatever waste products that we are having from living organisms to produce the energy. See, wood is an example, cow dung is another example. You might have seen the cow dung stored in the solid form, drying and kept it in a briquette forms and can be used as the source of energy. That is what is direct combustion. In all these processes the biomass is directly we will be combusting the biomass directly with the presence of the air, that is what is direct combustion. Then coming to the advanced stage, that is what is first one is thermochemical conversion. In these processes to extract more energy from the available biomass we will be going for thermochemical treatments or thermochemical conversion processes. So thermochemical conversion of biomass is thermal decomposition process. See, there will be a decomposition process. Thermal decomposition is happening so that the the different materials are decomposed from the available biomass feedstock. Okay, so the chemical composition itself is changed by these processes so that it can be converted into high grade of energy. Thermochemical conversion of biomass is thermal decomposition processes in which biomass materials are heated in closed pressurized vessels called gasifiers at high temperature. So in order to do that chemical decomposition or thermal decomposition, what we will do is we will be heating the biomass in a closed pressurized vessels, and that closed pressurized vessels are usually known as gasifiers. So even limited amount of oxygen only is provided during this heating processes and all. So finally we will be getting high grade energy from useful the product which is much better than the biomass that we have used for the production. So the grade of energy will be changing. So if we are directly combusting the biomass is directly used for the combustion, then the energy quantity of heat produced will be less. But if you go for the thermochemical conversions, then the product obtained will be having much higher heat content capacity, or simply we can say that from the biomass, raw biomass, we will be eliminating all the waste products and all, which is not helpful for the combustion, and finally the combustible form like charcoal, everything is made out. That is what is known as thermochemical conversion. Now coming to next method, that is chemical conversion processes. This process is simply known as trans-esterification and is used for converting vegetable oils, animal fats and greases into fatty acids and methyl esters. So by chemical treatments, the vegetable oils, animal fats and greases etc. are converted into fatty acid and methyl esters. We will be providing the optimum condition for the chemical reactions to take place, so that the vegetable oils, the chemical composition is changed, and we will be finally extracting the methyl esters. So from that we can produce the energy which is used to produce biodiesel. So from these ethyl esters and fatty acids we will be producing the biodiesels. Again, for the production of the biodiesel, again some chemical conversions has to be carried out. So anyway, all these are happening through the chemical conversions only. So the conditions which is best suited for this chemical conversion to take place, that we will provide in the laboratories and all. So by that chemical treatment we will be converting the form of one liquid into another form which is useful, which can be now used as a fuel. That is what is happening. So vegetable oils, animal fats and greases are usually converted into fatty acid and methyl esters, simply known as FAME. So methyl esters, further on chemical processing we will get the biodiesel. So biodiesel is a useful form of energy, and we can even use it for the transportation purposes and all. Now coming to the last one, that is, of course, we have discussed about thermochemical, chemical, and the last process is biological conversion. So biological conversion means the conversion of the biomass into useful energy form with the help of the microorganisms. That is what is known as biological conversion. Biological conversion includes fermentation. That is the main major processes used for the biological conversion. That is what is known as fermentation. Just like chemical, we will have thermal esterification. Here we will have fermentation. So biological conversion includes fermentation to convert biomass into ethanol and anaerobic digestion to produce renewable natural gas called biogas. So by doing the process of fermentation, the fermentation is nothing but the action of microbial organisms to convert its structure. That is what is known as fermentation. സോ നമ്മൾ തൈര് പാല് മോരാക്കുന്ന പ്രോസസ്സൊക്കെ ഇല്ലേ, അതാണ് ഏറ്റവും സിമ്പിളായിട്ടുള്ള ഫെർമെൻറ്റേഷൻ പ്രോസസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. സോ സം മൈക്രോ ഓർഗാനിസംസ് ആർ ആക്ടിങ് ഓവർ ദി milk and it is converting it into the another useful form. That is what is fermentation. So fermentation to convert biomass into ethanol and anaerobic digestion to produce renewable natural gas called biogas. So all these processes we will be discussing in detail in this module. So once that part is completed, coming back to this side, you will have a better idea. Now in the next one we will discuss useful form of biomasses. Okay, so the main useful form of biomass is, the simplest one is wood. The most common form of biomass is wood. Its energy density is around 16 to 20 megajoule per kilogram. If you burn 1 kilogram of wood, you are expected to get around 16 to 20 megajoule of energy. It can also be converted to more useful forms such as charcoal or producer gas. So on further treatment, we can convert into more useful form. That is what is known as charcoal. Charcoal നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? ഈ ഇരുമ്പിൻ്റെ പണിക്കാരൊക്കെ, കൊല്ലപ്പണിക്കാരൊക്കെ ആലയിലൊക്കെ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നൊരു കരി എന്ന് പറയുന്നില്ല, ആ സാധനമാണ്. അപ്പോൾ പ്യുവർ കാർബൺ കണ്ടൻറ്റിനെയാണ് എന്ത് പറയുന്നത്, ചാർക്കോൾ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ജസ്റ്റ് ലൈക്ക് കോൾ. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പോൾ അത് കിട്ടുന്നത് ഒരു കെമിക്കൽ പ്രോസസ്സിലൂടെ ട്രീറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് വുഡിനെ ചാർക്കോളായിട്ട് കൺവേർട്ട് ചെയ്യുക. അപ്പോൾ കൂടുതൽ എനർജി അത് പ്രൊവൈഡ് ചെയ്യും, കൂടുതൽ നേരം കത്തുകയും ചെയ്യും. അതുപോലെ എന്താണ്, കത്തുമ്പോഴുള്ള പുകയും കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഒഴിവാക്കാനും പറ്റും. ക്ലീനസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ടും കുറേയും കൂടെ ബെറ്റർ കമ്പഷൻ പോസിബിൾ ആവും. അതിൽ കത്തേണ്ട സാധനങ്ങൾ മാത്രമാണ് പിന്നെ ബാക്കി ഉണ്ടാവുക. ചാർക്കോൾ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. വുഡ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ കത്താത്തതും കമ്പസ്റ്റബിൾ, വുഡ് ഈസ് ഹാവിങ് കമ്പസ്റ്റബിൾ ആസ് വെൽ ആസ് നോൺ കമ്പസ്റ്റബിൾ പ്രോഡക്ട്സ് ആർ ദർ ഇൻ വുഡ്. So while directly burning, smoke is produced in a large quantity. If you convert it into the purest form of charcoal and all, then we can reduce the smoke formation as well as it is the cleanest form. Okay, so then comes charcoal. I have already told. Charcoal is a clean, smokeless, dry solid fuel, black in color. It has 75 to 80% carbon content and has energy density of about 30 megajoule per kilogram. See, if wood is directly used for the combustion, then we will be getting 16 to 20 megajoule per kilogram. Here, if you convert it into charcoal through some chemical processes, then we are getting around 30 megajoule per kilogram. It is obtained by the carbonization process of woody biomass. How we will convert wood into charcoal is by using the process of carbonization, or carbonization is simply heating in the absence of the air. So wood is heated in the absence of the air, so that we will be finally obtaining the charcoal or producer gas. Okay, producer gas is nothing but a combustible gas obtained by passing oxygen and I think oxygen and steam over the over the coal, I think. Okay, so that is what is known as producible gas, producer gas. It can be used as fuel domestic purposes as it burns without smoke. So we can say it is advanced version of wood. That's all. Charcoal wood is transformed into its purest form for the combustion. That is what is known as charcoal, and the process of conversion is carbonization process. Now coming to next useful form of biomass, or the higher version is biogas. Okay, so here the first two are solid form only. Coming to the third one, that is gaseous form, it is biogas. Biogas or landfill gas refers to the gas obtained by the anaerobic digestion of the biomass resources. See here we are digesting the biomass in the absence of the air. That is what is anaerobic digestion of the biomass resources. Biogas contains 55 to 70% methane, and the remaining part is carbon dioxide with small amount of other gases such as hydrogen and hydrogen sulfide. Okay, so you can see it is having 55 to 70% methane, which is used as the fuel. So methane is a useful fuel, or it will readily burn in the presence of the oxygen. The main difference between natural gas and, so you will be getting confused with natural gas and biomass. Actually both are almost the same, but the main difference between natural gas and biogas is related to the carbon dioxide content in it. See, biogas contains 25 to 45% of CO2, whereas natural gas is having only 1%. So natural gas is much better fuel compared to the biogas. Okay, so only difference is in carbon percentage. Of course, the natural gas will have other hydrocarbons also. Now coming to the last one, that is biofuel. So the two most common type of biofuels are ethanol and biodiesel. Biogas is the gaseous form of energy that we have derived from the biomass, whereas biofuel is actually the liquid form. Okay, the two most common types of biofuel are ethanol and biodiesel. These are the popularly used biofuels. These fuels are usually blended with the petrol. So for the application purpose, either we will be blending these ethanol and biodiesel along with the petrol and diesel. Blending means adding to some volume percentage. ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു 60% പെട്രോളിൻ്റെ കൂടെ 40% എന്ത് ആഡ് ചെയ്യുക, ഈ ബയോഫ്യൂൽ ആഡ് ചെയ്യുക. അങ്ങനെയാണ്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഡീസലിൻ്റെ കൂടെ ബയോഡീസൽ ആഡ് ചെയ്യുക. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് വാട്ട് ഈസ് ഹാപ്പനിങ്. സോ പ്യുവർ ഫോമിലും യൂസ് ചെയ്യാം, ബട്ട് ഓഫ് കോഴ്സ് ദ എൻജിൻ കോമ്പണൻസ് വിൽ ഹാവ് സം ഡാമേജ്. ദാറ്റ്സ് വൈ വി ആർ നോട്ട് യൂസിങ് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ എ purest form. We will be usually using in automobiles, we will be using in the blended form. So but they can also be used their own. So they can be without blending also they can use it. Ethanol and biodiesel are usually more expensive than the fossil fuels, but they are cleaner fuels with less pollution. Of course we know that conversion process or production process is a little bit costlier as far as biofuel is concerned. Ethanol and biodiesels are more expensive. That's why compared to the fossil fuels, that's why the fossil fuels are much popular. If we can produce the biofuel like ethanol and biodiesel in a low cost, then definitely the fossil fuels will be replaced by these two. Okay, anyway, the work is going on in that direction also. A lot of research works are going, so hope for the best in the future. Now discussing about ethanol. Ethanol is ethyl alcohol. Ethanol is the most widely used alcohol, primarily as a fuel or fuel for transportation or as a fuel additive, because it can be produced in large quantities from fermenting plants-based material. Bioethanol can be produced from variety of feedstocks. So usually the bioethanol is produced from either from sugarcane, corn, sugar beets, sunflower, potato, cotton seeds, etc. So what is happening is the starches or sugar content in these materials and all is converted into a useful form of fuel, liquid fuel, by some processes. Okay, so the starches and sugars in these plants are fermented, so that process is called fermentation, and the ethanol is then obtained by distillation. ഈ പ്രോസസ്സ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അറിയുന്നതായിരിക്കും, അതായത് നമ്മൾ വാറ്റൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നില്ലേ, സെയിം പ്രോസസ്സിനാണ് എന്ത് പറയുന്നത്, ഫെർമെൻറ്റേഷൻ എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്നത്. അതായത് അണ്ടി മാങ്ങയൊക്കെ എടുത്ത് പിഴിഞ്ഞ് വെച്ചിട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന പ്രോസസ്സല്ലേ, കെമിക്കൽ കൺവേർഷൻസ് നടക്കുന്നില്ല, ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് വാട്ട് ഇസ് ഫെർമെൻറ്റേഷൻ. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഫെർമെൻറ്റേഷൻ ഫൈനലി നമുക്ക് കിട്ടുന്ന എന്തായിരിക്കും, ദ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ദാറ്റ് ഫൈനലി ഒബ്റ്റെയിൻഡ് ഈസ് ethanol. Mostly we will be obtaining ethanol, which is a highly combustible liquid. So the starches and the sugars in these plants are fermented, and then the ethanol is then obtained by distillation. Finally, by doing the distillation, we will be getting the ethanol. So first we will do the fermentation process, then finally by doing the distillation we can extract the ethanol from the sugar content of the above mentioned materials. The ethanol is a clean burning particulate free fuel source. When burned in oxygen, the end product is carbon dioxide and water, but ethanol has a lower heat of combustion. The only difficulty with ethanol is the heat energy produced on combustion compared to the conventional fuel or fossil fuel is much less for the ethanol. Now the second biofuel is ബയോഡീസൽ. ബയോഡീസൽ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ വെജിറ്റബിൾ ഓയിൽസ് എന്നൊക്കെ അതുപോലെ ആനിമൽ ഫാറ്റ് എന്നൊക്കെ കൺവേർട്ട് ചെയ്തെടുക്കുന്ന ഡീസലിനാണ് എന്ത് പറയുന്നത്, ബയോഡീസൽ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. സോ ഓയിൽസ് ആർ കൺവേർട്ടഡ് ഇൻ ടു biodiesel, that is what is known as the oils are converted into diesel, the chemical structure of the diesel, that is what is known as biodiesel. Biodiesel can be produced from different feedstocks such as oil feedstock, example soybean oil, ജെട്രോഫ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു പ്രത്യേക ഒരു ഫ്രൂട്ടാണ്, അത് ബയോഡീസൽ ഉണ്ടാക്കാനായിട്ട് മാത്രം കൾട്ടിവേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ്. പാം ഓയിൽ, ആൽഗെ ആൻഡ് മസ്റ്റാർഡ്, ഈവൻ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് produced biodiesel is prepared from animal fats and or waste vegetable oils. Okay, so from all these products we will be extracting the biodiesel. So recycled restaurant oil also one of the most important source of biodiesel. The most common production method for converting vegetable and animal fats into biodiesel is trans-esterification. See here the conversion process to produce the ethanol, the process that we have used is fermentation, but for producing the biodiesel the process that we use is called trans-esterification. The purpose of the trans-esterification process is to lower the viscosity of the raw oil and allow the proper atomization of the fuel. See, anything which can be used as a fuel must be having the correct proportion of the viscosity as compared to petrol and diesel. Then only we can atomize the fluid, atomize this liquid by providing into the engine cylinders. That is important. So the main difficulty with most of the biodiesel is biodiesel have the higher viscosity, so it is having some difficulty while flowing into the engine through the pipes and all. So we must do something to reduce the viscosity so as it will be comparable with the petrol as well as the diesel. Then only it can be easily atomized before providing into the engine. Biodiesel can be used to power engines, diesel engines, either alone as or pure biodiesel or mixed with petrol and diesel in various ratios. So simply it is known as blending. Compared to petrol and diesel, biodiesel is biodegradable and non-toxic. So it is having a lot of advantages compared to the conventional diesel, but the cost is of course high. That's why most of them are not producing or not interested to produce the biodiesel. Now coming to the advantages and disadvantages of bioenergy. First one is advantages of bioenergy. It is a renewable source, that is the main advantage. So the fossil fuels are non-renewable, so depending on it is very difficult. So we had to shift towards the bioenergy. The main advantage is biomass is bioenergy is a renewable source of energy. Second advantage is the pollutant emission from the combustion of biomass are usually lower than the fossil fuels. The emission will be less, or the pollution will be less if we use the bioenergy Then the third advantage is commercial use of biomass may avoid or reduce the problems of waste disposal in other industries. See, the biomass or bioenergy is nothing but the waste of living organisms. So if we are extracting the energy from this one, that means we are indirectly reducing the waste in our earth. So commercial use of biomass may avoid reduce the problem of waste disposal in other industries. So everywhere waste is reduced by utilizing it as energy. Use of biogas plants apart from supplying clean gas also leads to improved and stabilized sanitation. So the biogas is produced from the um commonly occurring waste products, vegetable waste, everything is converted into biogas. So if you are promoting the biogas, then indirectly we are creating a clean cities and all. The forestry and the agricultural industries which supply feedstocks also provide substantial economic development opportunities in rural areas. That is another advantage. The last one is energy storage is inbuilt feature of it. So anyway, in whatever its raw form or converted form, it is having a lot of energy content. So energy is inbuilt feature of biomass. So coming to the disadvantages of bioenergy, it is dispersed and land intensive source and it is often low energy density. So if you compare with the heat energy produced by diesel and petrol, the energy produced will be very less. By combustion of the 1 kilogram, the energy obtained will be very less, or heat obtained will be very less. That is what is known as low grade energy, low energy density. It is also labor intensive, and the cost of collecting large quantities of biomass for commercial application is significant. See, whatever may be the process, if you want to extract the energy, except the direct combustion, all other processes are costlier. So the cost of producing the bioenergy is much higher. So that is the last disadvantage. So that is all about advantages and disadvantages. So in the next presentation we will be discussing about all the different processes which are used to convert biomass into bioenergy. Okay, thank you.